do you want this or just hold it?
Okay, I'll come get it when I walk down, or you can pass it down.
John came in a few hours ago. And I said,
Thank you. I'd like to call this, oops, let me turn on my microphone. Sorry about that. I'd like to call this meeting of the Whitfield County Board of Commissioners to order for July 14th, 2025. Please silent or mute your cell phone. All that are able, please stand for our invocation, followed by the pledge.
Before we pray, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence to remember all those people in the devastation in Texas and those counties that are experiencing flood issues, weather issues. A moment of silence, please. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunities and the blessings that you have bestowed upon us, dear Heavenly Father. We just thank you that we can be stewards of those, dear Heavenly Father, and do what is in your will. Dear Heavenly Father, go with us and guide us. Forgive us where we fail you. And dear Heavenly Father, we just pray a special blessing upon the people that are experiencing these tragedies out in Texas and other areas for the flooding and weather issues. Dear Heavenly Father, we just pray that you'll watch over. Dear Heavenly Father, heal their lands and heal our lands. Now go with us and guide us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, may the record reflect we have all 5 commissioners present, and that meets our quorum requirement. The commissioners and the public were made aware of the agenda approximately 5 days ago. There is one additional item to add related to a rezone for Mr. Moore at the very end of the agenda. Is there any other additions or changes to the agenda
Motion to approve as presented.
with the one change?
Yes.
Motion by Commissioner Staton to approve with one change. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. There's just one consent agenda item today, and that is related to our purchase agreements and budget amendments from last month's approvals. The minutes were also sent out 5 days ago from our regular June business meeting, as well as 2 special called meetings, one in June and one in July. So 3 sets of minutes. Anybody see any corrections to those minutes or changes?
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins to approve the 3 sets of minutes. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. All right, we'll start with a recognition of our County Employee of the Month. Will the sheriff come forward? We have 2? No. There you are. No. And Sean Tucker. Sean? How you doing? Tell us a little bit about him.
So I've known Sean for several years, kind of started our careers together. He's been with the Sheriff's Office for 19 years. In 2014, he's promoted to the Court Services Division. Ever since then, you talking about an outstanding employee that continuously shows up with a positive attitude, smile on his face, is always greeting people. I have never seen this guy right here come to work with having a bad day. I don't know what it's going to take to make you have a bad day. He is continuously helping people in the courthouse. You know, people come up to him all the time. Instead of just giving them directions, he'll actually help them get to wherever they're going. We not only see it at the Sheriff's Office, but other departments within the courthouse see it, and that speaks volumes. And I'm honored to be able to present to him the Employee of the Month award, and just keep it up, Sean.
Appreciate it.
Dan, he's supposed to give a speech.
He is. Short.
We can give you 5 minutes. I got a timer, 5 minutes. Well, we'll get you a picture. How about that? his supervisor.
This is Captain McMillan, his captain. He's the captain over the Court Service Division. This is Lieutenant Page. He is his lieutenant.
Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3.
Yep, thank you. All right, we have one more recognition. This is a new award. If you recall, last month I asked for the department heads and our different teams to try and find cost savings and efficiency savings across the county government. And we probably won't do this every month, but whenever there's a good recognition, we want to show that. So Chuck Fetzer, I don't know if you or any of your team want to come up for buildings and ground. So they worked with the tax commissioner. He had already gotten a quote to fix his drive-in, I believe, over there off the bypass. Yeah. Over $10,000, and it was going to be 2 or 3 weeks before they could get to us to repair it. So that really slows down the efficiency coming through, the citizens paying their tax bills. We want to make sure we get their money. So the drive-through is the quickest way to get it. And you saved us over $10,000 with the team. And that's a great recognition. Like I said, we're not going to do this every month, just when there's a great project, and I really appreciate it. So you have an award, and if you don't mind taking the guys out to lunch, I don't know how many guys it was, but that's on me. So not the county. We don't want to put county money out there. So if that's not enough, just come back and see me. But we really appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh. Well, I hope we have a lot of these to come. I don't mind buying lunches if we can save thousands of dollars. So let's bring them on.
1, 2, 3. And one more, 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Oh. Remote. All right, we'll start with our reports from each commissioner and our county administrator. I'll start us off. There's been some concern. It's certainly appropriate with the cuts in the federal government and a lot of the budgets and contracts and grants being cut. So I want to just take this moment to say what we're doing from a county, because we have really increased the number of grants that we've gotten, some from federal government, but not all of them, some from state, some from nonprofits, et cetera. So just to let you know, we are increasing our applications to grants, trying to find more and more. So I've got myself and a lot of people, our grant administrator. I'm happy that I don't know if Carol's here, but she's moving back to Georgia, so it's good to have her close. We're going to keep being creative. And like I said, I think we've got 5 grants to either approve or apply for tonight. So we're going to keep winning and stay vigilant, because some of those require matches and some of them have strings attached, so we have to watch that. But we will continue to win grants, and tonight's just another example of that. One other item, I couldn't resist putting a little cartoon on here, because it really made me laugh, but it also brought it home. If you can't read it at home, Dilbert's manager's there. He's asking how he's doing on his unspoken objectives, and Dilbert looks a little bit confused there, and he says, "I'm referring to the goals that I have in my mind, but I've never mentioned to you. How are those going?" And Dilbert said he's totally nailing them. So that's not how we want to run our HR goals in our software. So I don't have an agenda item on this. I just want to make sure the commissioners were aware. We have some new software. It's already paid for. We need to integrate that with our IT systems, so the payroll, and everybody can have a goal. Everybody can get a review for this fiscal year 2025. And I mean, that's kind of table stakes in my opinion, but I want to make sure the commissioners were aware of that and okay that be working with HR and IT to make that happen. And the rest of the commissioners. Anything for you? Anything for you?
No, sir.
I
Anything for you,
can
Commissioner Robbins?
report, yes, I can report that we have appointed all of the library board members. That was 4. We did that last month. We'll have an upcoming meeting. They are still looking for a library director for our Dalton Whitfield Library.
And our county administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Commissioner Robbins referenced earlier about the terrible situation in Kerr County, Texas, with loss of life, particularly young girls at a summer camp. First of all, I want to commend the first responders there in Texas who've been working nonstop since Friday evening, about 10 days now. But as they complete their duties, there will probably be some sort of review of the situation and some analysis of what went right, what went wrong, et cetera. Regardless of what happened in Texas or what the federal government will or won't do in the future due to budget cuts, I want to assure everybody that Whitfield County does a fantastic job of planning for natural and man-made disasters, ranging from tornadoes to flooding to, and given this is a manufacturing center and we have rail lines, anything that may occur with regard to chemicals or toxic materials that may spill. This is particularly appropriate because I know Dave is here somewhere back there. There he is. Okay, I didn't see him. And then David, come up if you want to add to my comments. The LAPC is meeting this Thursday at the 911 Center, and that meets monthly. This isn't something we're doing in response to what happened in Texas. LAPC is an acronym that stands for Local Emergency Planning Committee. And on that group chaired by the very able Jeff Ramin, we have citizens, law enforcement officials, fire, EMS, emergency management, people from the medical community, and also people from our large employers, our industrial community, to sit down every month to discuss things, to make sure if, God forbid, any of these things happen, we're able to respond quickly to preserve property and preserve life. David, I don't know if you want to add anything. Okay, so I just want to have everybody rest assured that we are on the ball on this.
Great. Now we'll move into our finance report. Ms. Godfrey.
So we've closed out May, and we have collected in the following categories. We collected $6.3 million year-to-date in lost or sales tax. We've collected $2.4 million in TAVT or vehicle tax, and $16.3 million in revenue, and we've paid $26.3 million in expenditures. Like I said, in revenues, we've collected 16.3 through the end of May. Our projected revenues through the end of May are 16.7, and our collections for this same period last year were 16.4 million.
Part of that was the timing, which we did, I did track down a check that we received in June, right?
Yes.
That should help get us back above where we need to be on the revenue side at least.
Yes.
When we get the report next month. So
Yes, you'll
good.
see it next month. On the expenditures, I noticed there's a typo on the bar graph there. The total expenditures for May was 26.3, like on the front sheet. Actually, $26,332,196. Projected expenditures through May were 26.7, and we had expended 25.7 through May of 24. Now, that did not affect any of the other numbers, but it's just a
This one,
misprint on there.
the most important.
Yeah, that one's right.
And we've dug out of a pretty big hole. We started almost exactly flat at this point from
Yes.
where we were a couple of months ago, so that's good.
So through May, our revenue is $403,000 less than originally budgeted. But again, we'll have that check in June that will help. We have spent $336,000 less than budgeted through May. That's a good sign. And so that creates a deficit of only $67,000 as of May 31st. And then on our 24 SPLOST, we've collected through the end of May a total of $14.9 million. And our total expenditures, which are paid and encumbered expenses, are $12 million.
Any questions? Motion to approve the finances as presented.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. All right, we have public comment, so you can comment on anything on our agenda, or if you call me in advance, like the former Mayor Pennington did, we'd be happy to put you on the first public comment. We do have a second one. Doesn't have to be on the agenda. It can be anything that's on your mind you want to share with us at the end of the meeting. But I'll start with the mayor.
Former mayor.
Former.
And that's one of the reasons I'm really here as a private business person. On what I think is the most important issue facing this county in my adult lifetime. And I was mayor of Dalton 3 different times. I've operated a business here for over 40 years. This will be, when you add the two together, by far the largest tax increase, mostly falling on homeowners and small local businesses in this county's history, maybe Georgia history when you look at the history that we're making here. First of all, the Board of Commissioners, even though you say it's on the Board of Assessors, the Board of Commissioners does have some control over the Board of Assessors. You appoint the board. You also fund the board's budget every year. You can call public meetings with the board and ask them what is going on here. We've hired an attorney of small businesses, and that's what's unusual for small businesses, but we've grouped together and hired an attorney. From a legal standpoint, I'm not sure what legal advice they're acting on. Our attorney has said he can find nothing in the law that gives them the power to reassess 24. There is powers in there to correct clerical errors, but not to reassess an entire digest. And when you look at that, just in and of itself, should be enough to send up many, many questions. Somebody said, well, it's a gray area. Well, I got to believe the courts are going to rule in favor of the taxpayers in a gray area. Secondly, many of us appealed our judge-ordered 10% assessment. They sent a letter back and said the appeals are now dead because the judge ordered this. Our attorney, once again, has said there's absolutely no legal basis for them to say that we could not appeal 24's assessment to begin with. Third, the notice is sent out so far, and in this county, which they don't realize, a lot of people in this county at the moment don't realize, they're going to get 2 of these this year. That first one that went out, the 24 assessment, which legally they were still supposed to put the estimated tax on that assessment notice. Our attorney has said that in and of itself is not going to throw anything out, but coupled with a lot of other things, as I've already mentioned some of them to you tonight, that could throw out the entire assessment. Just look at uniformity, how they've met this ratio they keep talking about, and they're so proud of meeting this ratio. Well, they met the ratio on about 30% of the tax digest. The other 70%, industry and big box retailers, big corporations up and down Walnut Avenue, Sugar Road, wherever, we kept finding all these discrepancies. Walmart has not been increased in years, while many of us small business are getting increased 100%, 150%, 200%. McDonald's has not been increased in many, many years. I can go on and on and on. Walmart's paying way less today than what they are assessed at, way less today than what they were 5 years ago. There's the uniformity argument. Somebody needs to be looking at this. Every time I brought this up to the Board of Assessors, they tell me there must be some explanation. I've yet to get the explanation, because I don't think there is an explanation, other than the fact they're concerned about them taking legal action, hiring consultants, which they do every year, every 2 years, whatever. So what's happened now is they've reassessed, hit their ratio by putting it on the back of the lowest percentage people, and also all local residential and small businesses. What most people still don't understand in this county, this isn't going to happen once. This is going to happen twice this year, which we will have. I know some small businesses, they'll be paying in excess of $100,000 more this year than they did last year. Homeowners will be paying thousands of dollars more this year than they did last year, because you're doing 2. And I think I know why our attorney could not find the legal basis for them to reassess 24. They didn't want that to happen, where you can reassess a prior year, then hit them with a current year, all in the same year. This will be devastating to this county if this goes through. You're looking at over the next 10, 20 years in a county that did not grow for the last decade. Can you imagine the message this sends? And as far as we can find, this is without precedent in the state of Georgia. I'm hoping the Department of Revenue will step in, but who knows what they may do. And I can tell you this, who the voters and the taxpayers are going to look for are the ones they can vote for or against. Because, as I said, this is unconscionable that this has been allowed to go on. And when we keep pointing out more and more of the errors in this assessment, almost all of this is on the backs of local businesses, small businesses, and local residents. Thank y'all for listening to me.
Thank you. Any other public comment on agenda items or, of course, the Board of Assessment? Since we had that topic, I'll take any kind of comments on that. Yes, ma'am, just come to the front and say your name and address, please.
Kathy Holmes, 147 Ella Lane in Dalton. I would just like to make one quick comment. I don't want to repeat anything that David just said. I know it's up to the Board of Assessors to hire the lead assessor. And I know we currently have a lead assessor who is soon to retire. I'm aware that an assessor needs to be a level 4 in order to be a lead assessor. I don't know if there's any leeway there. Anyway, my point is, you do control the budget, as David pointed out, to the Board of Assessors, to the assessor's office. I would encourage you to communicate with the Board of Assessors and be very generous in your communication regarding the money you are willing to give them to hire a top-cut lead assessor. It's not going to be cheap, I understand. You may well have to pay more money, and I don't know if a search is currently ongoing. You probably don't have that in your budget. You guys are pretty good at managing your money, and I think you can probably find the money, but I think that is critical. I know we have some good assessors in the assessor's office. I'm not standing here criticizing those people. But just because you have achieved a certain level of assessor based on state guidelines and state tests does not mean that you have the background to lead a group of however many assessors there are, 15, 18, 20, I'm not sure how many there are or how many there need to be. Does a lead assessor needs to have experience in evaluating performance, setting key performance parameters, evaluating performance, experience knowing how to work with people, and discuss their performance as well as improvement needs, identify improvement actions. If somebody has no experience in that and all they've been to is maybe a training session, something they took online, that is totally inadequate. It's very difficult to deal with performance issues, especially if there's a poor performance issue. Easy if you've got a top performer. Those are the easy ones. It's the other ones that often get overlooked because it's hard to do. So that's my message to you. I encourage you to consider that and be very generous in your willingness to fund a lead assessor. One more point, I have no idea regarding assessors if there's any kind of reciprocity between states. For example, if you're a level 4, whatever they call it in another state, is there a reciprocity agreement with the state of Georgia regarding assessors, or is the sole search going to be within the state of Georgia? I'm sure there's very good people in the state of Georgia. There may be very good people within our own assessor's office. However, you're not going to affect culture change if you promote from within. Thank you.
I know our county administrator and HR are always available to the Board of Assessors to help them, guide them, give them any resources that they need as well. I think the commissioners would support external recruiting, external advertising whenever the job search begins. We'll definitely support that full-heartedly. And we did do a nationwide search last time, so certainly willing to do that again, me personally at least. I assume the other commissioners are too. Yes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to take a minute to respond to some of the comments of my friend David Pennington. And first of all, thank you all for the job that you do as elected officials. I agree with David on several points, one of which is that the Board of Tax Assessors is not the board that will wind up catching a lot of the blame from the taxpayers. It's a very confusing process, and I would, again, just like to thank you for that. I do think David has the best interests of the citizens of this county at heart. I think he's sadly mistaken on a lot of his comments. So if you would indulge me for a few more minutes, I'd like to just make some overall comments. I don't think it's helpful to dwell on why we're here, but we're in a bad situation, as you all know. When you asked me to be on this board, I made the comment a number of times that we have to choose between the least worst of a lot of very bad choices. So I think that's where we are. I don't see an easy way out. I don't think adding confusion and chaos with a bunch of hyperbole is helpful to anybody. So I don't think that those comments are particularly helpful. There's no tax increase. It's a redistribution of those taxes based on your rollback rate, as you all know. So if the rollback rate is rolled back, there'll be no new taxes. David is correct that those burdens might fall on different segments of the tax assessed properties, industrial, commercial. That has nothing to do with the tax values. The tax assessment went up about 43% on average. The residential sector went up about 43% on average. Both are 43%. So there is no increase in the residential. The reason there may be an increase is because of the tax policies that give certain tax benefits that have been acted by state and local officials, such as tax abatements, CUVAs, and things of that nature. That will obviously affect this ratio and cause some people's taxes to go up more than others. Now, the basis of all taxation laws under Title 48 are based on one important premise, and that is that the tax digest is based at fair market value in a uniform and consistent method. This has not been done for a number of years, as you know, and there's no reason to go into the reasons why that is the case, but it is in fact the case. If you don't follow the rules, then Title 48 will penalize local governments in many different forms, in many different fashions. I can go over some of those if you would like for me to. But the way that property is taxed, the way the property is assessed is a mass appraisal technique. It's outlined in Title 48 of the code. The tax assessor's job is to present a digest that is prepared in accordance with the rules and regulations in Title 48. Mass appraisal is not a regular appraisal. There are 40,000 plus parcels. They are assessed at 40% of the fair market value. It's the assessor's job to set that 100% value. David is critical of the statistical measurements, but in fact, there are only 3 measurements that make any difference in the review of a tax digest. Those are the 3 put out by the statute and regulation of Georgia Department of Revenue. Those 3 statistical measures basically start off with the first one, which is the sales ratio. It's the most important. So you take the property that's sold every year, you compare it to the assessed value of the property. Since we tax in the county at 40%, most cities in the state at 40%, Dalton happens to be one of the very few that taxes at 100%, but the math is the same. You take the sales price of the property, compare it to the assessed value, should be 40%. 40% would be perfect. State says we can be between, we get a 10% margin of error, that'd be between 36 and 44%. Well, the second number is a coefficient of dispersion, basically a statistical standard correlation number, which measures the differential from the mean. The third is a PRD, which is the price-related differential. Forgetting the last 2, if you just look at the sales ratios, 2020, the ratio of this county for a digest of 5,800,000 $800 million, $5,800 million. It's 34%. Way low. 2021, 35.43%. Way low. 22, 26.87. 23, 30.54. The original digest as produced by the tax assessor's office, 31.92. 2024 billing digest, 28.09. 24 amended digest produced by this current Board of Tax Assessors, 39.48. Now, there's really no other argument to that statistical number other than what I just said. Those are the numbers. It tells how accurate they are, and it explains the process. What happens if you don't follow the process? Well, it's going to cost. I've had this conversation with many people. 2021 was a review year. The state said to the Board of Assessors, you are badly out of whack, get your house in order. You have 3 years to do that. 2024 would have been the third year. I just read you the number. So if you're not correct in 2024, then you will be fined $5 per parcel. That's about $200,000. Secondly, if you talk to Babs Bailey, her budget is going to be about $100,000 more than it's been in the past as a result of the tremendous number of appeals. Tremendous number of appeals are resulting from the fact that this change is so great at this point in time. Third cost of hidden loss revenue. The Whitfield County gets dinged for the amount of money that they receive back from the state in public utility funding because the digest is low. If counties have their digest too low, then it's unfair to the other counties, so they get penalized. This is about $600,000 per year. It's in the audit, if anybody wants to look at it. The third and the most egregious one to me is the loss that the school systems have had for QBE funding because the digest has been so low. QBE funding was partly the brainchild of our own Don Thomas, and it assumed that there would be part state funding, part local funding. But again, if counties are not being fair and having a digest that's too low, it's unfair to counties who keep their digest high. This appears to be a cost of anywhere between $5 and $10 million per year, and it will continue each and every year because it's a 3-year rollback until we get the digest back in place. So when we were asked, the current board, to take over this job and try to right the ship, you know, it takes a long time to turn the rudder on a ship and get it correct. And it's not a lot of fun. This has not been a fun job at all. But I would propose to you that this current Board of Assessors has presented a board that is uniform and is accurate within the methodology that's prescribed to us by the Department of Revenue, that it's fair and it's accurate and it is uniform. And I would ask, personally, my personal request to the present and former elected officials is to stop interfering with the work of the Board of Assessors. Board of Assessors is designed to be an independent body to come up with the fair market value of people's properties. It's up to you all to run for office and set the tax millage rate. The office can work. We can fix the problems that have occurred in the past, but we need your support. We need us to be working together to try to solve the problem. It's a complicated problem, and unfortunately, adding more confusion and chaos into the system is not going to help. So thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Minor?
I'd just like to thank you for your time, Tom.
Thank you,
I know
John.
it's
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
a thankless position, and you're to be commended for taking it on. So thank you and your board.
I appreciate the comment. Thank you all. And again, thank you for your time.
Any other last minute comments?
I'm not even here for this reason, but I would like to touch on it. The assessors and the assessments that they come up with on residential and commercial buildings do they actually go out and see the properties that they're appraising? Because the way I see it, I can name several properties right now that, for instance, there's one off Walnut Avenue off of a place called Elrod Drive. It's got an old block building and an old duplex that both of the roofs have fell in. They're not in any kind of shape. Well, the assessors moved that up from right at $100,000 to $360,000 without ever even stepping foot over there. And neither of the buildings are even in good enough shape to, be appraised. But there's several other places like that. I've got a friend with many commercial buildings. He's got one that doesn't even have offices in there. It's just, blank warehouse. And it went up from 300-something thousand to 1.6 million on the appraisal. And I was just wondering, do they actually put boots on the ground and go check these places, or they just take it off of a computer and drive the prices up?
I know the commissioners pay for a flight aerial photo of the entire county, every parcel, every property.
Right.
And the computer draws the boundaries on those pictures, so you can see this is that parcel, this is that parcel, ties it together. So that's available. That gets updated every year. I'm sure they do not touch every property every year, but they do have iPads. They do go out and take pictures, but I don't know what the time frame is on that, if it's every 3 years or every 10 years, but it's not every year for sure. We do photograph, which you can tell something from the property from above, like you said, a fallen in roof, or the property doesn't exist anymore. It got burned down to the ground, but I don't know, what is it?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's 3, they touch every property within 3 years.
A physical?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's.
Well, I was just curious, because I know of many places that have just went through the roof, and they're not worth the value that's assessed to them by a long shot.
Yep.
So. My name is William Elrod.
Yeah. Steve?
Hello.
Hello.
Steve Laird, 1513 Habersham Way. And just a quick comment back to what Tommy said. I'm curious, do we know how many properties went down in value last year in this assessment?
We do, but I couldn't get it.
Okay, so 800, 900, don't know. But I guess one of my comments is, when you're looking at this and you're looking at the average, you can look at an average of 43%, but you may get 65, you may get 75, you may go down.
Yep.
So you look at these processes, and I guess that's part of what the mayor's looking at, or the former mayor, is if I'm looking at a Walmart, or I'm looking at these big box places, do we know if they stayed the same? I mean, David said they did, so I'm curious, do we know that answer?
I mean, there are 43,000 borrowers.
Okay, but I guess I'm looking at this saying, that is something to consider as you're looking at the assessors, is where are we, when we're looking at an individual, and I'm going out there and I'm talking to somebody who's having a tough time financially, and I'm saying, your piece of property went up 75%. It's a different ballgame than if I go to somebody and I say, hey, your property value went down. So just something to consider in terms of what David said. And I appreciate Tom's work on this thing, because I agree with him. I guarantee it is not any fun.
Yeah.
Thank you all for what you do.
All right, if no burning comments, I need to move on to my agenda, but there will be another public comment at the end of our meeting as well. The first one, we have an agenda item on this. This is the first reading. These are the 4 ordinances that we're considering. If you also recall, in our meeting last month, we wanted to review and streamline our ordinances, remove those that don't apply anymore or have never been implemented fully, or maybe not in decades. So these are the 4. There is backup in our agenda, and we'll discuss it at a later agenda item. But this is the first reading. We won't really take any action on these tonight. That'll be next month, if there's no concerns. Our next item is an ARC, the Appalachian Regional Commission. I mentioned there was 5 grants that were, applications and/or acceptance of awards. This one is actually a grant application. We have this already in our plans. This is a safety project related to the roads down off of South Dixie, yeah, there it is, in West Industrial Boulevard. I was trying to get the address there. So that's been tagged as a dangerous intersection there. We already have that in our SPLOST, so we can make our SPLOST dollars go further if we can get the ARC to help fund roughly half of it, of the $4.2 million. So that is a big match, but we're going to do the project anyway, so don't be concerned about that big match on there, because we will do either the 4.2, the full amount, or if we win it, then we'll just spend half the amount, roughly $2.2 million. Is there a motion to approve this application? We haven't won this one yet.
Mr. Chairman, I would propose that we take all the grant applications and awards as a total
Okay.
and make that motion if it is seconded.
Everybody's good for those? I'll just quickly go through these. The next one is delinquency, so big issues with youth and youth delinquency, so this is trying to divert them, and we have won this one several years in a row, so we'll be accepting this grant. It's a small one, but it does help with the youth detention program, or diversion program. This other one is another one that we actually have won as well, related to the drug court. So we like to keep that funded. We have those graduates every couple of months here, so that will be an additional one for the physical year starting July 1st from the state. So that's a pretty good one with just a small match. And I think this may be the last one related to mental health, another court that we have. Here, we always are concerned about when that one was first set up that we would have to make sure we got grants to keep that one going, and Murray County is going to help us with that one as well. So they'll help with the match part. The other part comes from the state. And then the last one is a Safer Streets. This was one we applied for, I think, about a year ago, and we have now won that one. So we'll be accepting that amount. It does have a small match, which we were aware of when we applied to it, but we'll be able to use this one, I believe, up on Reed Road is where we're thinking about doing the study and then trying to improve the safety off of Reed Road. And there's a four-way light there. So that would be 5 grants, applications, and accepting awards on several of them.
The motion is made for the same.
Motion, Commissioner Robbins, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. If you came into the courthouse, you noticed for the last maybe 9 or 10 months, we've had a temporary ramp. The federal government has us under surveillance, so to speak, to make sure we provide access, especially when it comes to voting, to the courthouse that meets the ADA standard, which, of course, this courthouse was built well before that. So they allowed us our temporary solution, and now we have a permanent one. For $532,542, so quite expensive to pour and make it look obviously more professional and more permanent with concrete and steel and all that fun stuff on our 2020 SPLOST. We did remodel most of the courthouse with that, but we hadn't planned to do a ramp until they dinged us about a year ago, this time last year. Is there a motion to fund that with the 2020 SPLOST? Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. A second one, there's been some discussion, so I don't think we're going to do what it says exactly in the wording here, but we did approve this last year, the Mount Vernon Road and Houston Valley, which is a very dangerous. There's been a lot of accidents out there. We want to put a roundabout there, so we've got the design, we've got the bids, we've got the quotes, I think we've acquired the properties even, is that right, Mr. Attorney? Okay, so we got the right-of-ways. We had to buy some just small pieces of the right-of-way to make the roundabout safe. But now we want to actually fund that and begin the construction on it this year using the
Chairman.
2007.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we reject all bids on this and bring the project in-house to a sum of not to exceed $350,000.
We did get several bids back. We think we can do it quicker and cheaper in-house for $350,000. By a motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. I know the folks on the west side will be happy when that gets completed. We have one reappointment of Tracy Ward to the Zoning Appeals Board. Is there a motion to
accept.
reappoint? Motion to accept by Commissioner Robbins, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. We We have the repair, another very popular item here of our elevator. I will say the elevator, at least one of the elevators, I guess we're halfway through. Does look pretty good, but it's painful to pay almost $35,000. But that is our portion to, for some of the modifications.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas to approve that payment on that latest invoice, $34,936. Is there a second?
I'll reluctantly second.
Second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? One abstained, 3 pass, barely. Passes on a 3-0 vote, 3-0-1 vote, I should say. Our EMA, we actually just, this is a ratify. We were able to get our radios, the 2024 SPLOST replaces many of our Motorola radios that are out of warranty and out of support as being, 10 years old, I believe, 9 years old at this point. We were able to get a 0% loan or interest for a year and go ahead and take possession of the radios now. So that also avoided a price increase was the main reason. So we saved about $300,000 to $400,000 by buying them early, but we don't have to pay till next July.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins, second. A motion by Commissioner Staton, second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. This is a little unusual. The Department of Health Services, the State Department is running temporarily for the next 3 months. The transit, the way they reimburse us for our transit through Cherokee County. So they've agreed to distribute that to North Georgia. I think there's 14 counties or so up here. So temporarily, because I think the contractor went out of business or declined to renew, so we're using Cherokee County. Then there will be a third party, won't be a county of any kind, after September is the goal. But temporarily, we need to approve that contract so we can continue to get reimbursed for our transit.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. And we have several rezones, I think 7, if I'm not mistaken. No, 9. We have 9 and a couple of denies. Well, we'll come back to that one at the end, yeah, if that's okay.
I make a motion that we accept all the recommendations from the Planning Commission as presented to the Board of Commissioners.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins. There will be 7 approvals, and the 2 denials are Pimentel, I think it is, R2 to R5, and then the transition housing, Kursky, I guess, was also voted to deny. So motion to accept the rest of the Planning Commission's recommendations. Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. And we'll have one more that we added at the very end here. Kurt.
I think that's I.
Oh, that was delayed from June? Oh, August of last year. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, they voted to deny that one, but he did come back with the items that he needed.
It didn't go back through planning, but it came directly to us.
Because we put it on
because
hold.
Right.
But if we accept they denied it because he didn't have that additional documentation, but he does now.
We need to revisit that.
Yeah, I'm good with that one. I forgot. Thank you for,
He got what he needed.
Yeah.
yeah, he got all the paperwork, and I think Gene's
And that's
fine
what
with it
the
now. Yeah,
Planning
Gene
Commission
approved
said,
it.
if you'll get what you need.
They
it'll
would
be-
approve it, but it didn't come through them. It came back to us because we put it on hold.
Okay,
Make a motion for Michael Kurchaski to be approved by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. The First Presbyterian Church made a generous donation of $2,000 to the juvenile court for a specific cause. and we just need to amend their budget to accept that and spend the money per their request.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. And then we have the 6 different ACCG amendments and resolutions. This is related to our retirement system. So there's changes to improve the 401A, which is a match that we do with the county, and then create a new Roth, which will be totally optional, but it's something we hope to offer to the employees, and we'll be rolling that out at a later date with hopefully some other changes. Again, totally optional, just trying to make some better benefits, more flexible retirement options. Nothing is required or changing at this time. Is there a motion to accept these 5 resolutions and amendments?
Motion to accept.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. Again, these are the ordinances that mentioned earlier that we want to rescind, that we looked at originally. Will give us a month to review them. They're not very long. The backup, the text is in the backup. Some of them are just a couple pages long at the most. But these have not been used or not been used this century, let's say, in most cases. So, not that I could find, and Blanca couldn't find, so like a rec commission. But we want to make sure there's nothing in there that Brian needs. That's just an example on number 2. I don't believe that's the case, but we will rescind these next month if nobody has any concerns. Any other discussion about these or questions or concerns? We'll continue to look for those. I know there's some other departments and other groups looking at other ordinances to streamline or remove as well. This is our one we added, a rezone. This is from June, not from a year ago, but just last June, that we delayed to get some more information from Mr. Moore, 73 acres. Was it May? Might have been May. Oh, that's right. It wasn't last month. It was May.
I make a motion to accept the planning commission's recommendation.
They did vote to approve it. Yep, 3-0. Motion by Commissioner Jones to approve the rezone to general ag. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion?
Yeah, this split zone, Gene, do we have any idea how many of these we have in the county? That it's my understanding that this should have already been in GA.
It's landlocked.
Is that correct?
Who knows when?
It is a separate parcel.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Sure.
I anticipate having the same thing, but it's not a separate parcel. It's a 2,000 acre parcel, and this is, all in one parcel. And, the Moores bought this property as GA, and for some reason, this little 73 acre tract that's set up there in the corner is zoned R5. It's not a separate tax parcel. Unless
It's just surveyed. Sparky, it's just surveyed differently, you say?
not surveyed in for anything.
Oh,
Got 2 zonings.
that is
on
split
one
zoning, like you
parcel
said.
of
That's
part
split
of Mr.
zoning.
Gallagher. And we have,
We don't know how many there are of that.
We find them
One of
every
those
month.
clerks when they
They
set
show
zoning
up every month.
Probably when it goes to sell.
I don't know how many there are.
Yeah, yeah. Any concerns or input on that, John?
I'm just
I
going
didn't.
on the gentleman's word that he doesn't have any plans to turn that into a chicken farm or hog farm because it adjoins our 5 properties, my understanding. So
No, it
No.
just GA.
It does not adjoin.
none of it touches another R.
It's landlocked, is what I understand.
Is that right, Gene?
It adjoins another GA, 2 other GA.
So it's a true island.
Okay.
He does want one, at least, he said. He came back and eventually told us that.
That what?
He wants one. at
But
least.
he's touching GA all the way around him, except for that piece of property, that little.
Yeah,
Okay,
3 acres.
so it's surrounded by GA is what I'm being told.
an island.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at it.
Yeah, they call that an island for sure, yeah.
Just
Any
wanted
other-
to be sure.
Definitely. Any other discussion? Good clarification. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? Passes on a 4-0 vote. All right, this is our final public comment. If you didn't get to speak earlier or have something else on your mind, feel free to come forward. Just tell us your name and address. Going once?
Glenn Elrod, 600 Royal Oak Drive in Dalton. I'm also a contractor here in Dalton. And I'm looking at a piece of property up in Varnell that a customer of mine wants me to build onto. And the fire hydrants that are in the area are basically 720 foot apart. And according to the ordinance, they're supposed to be within 600 foot of each other in a commercial setting. This property is up, it's an old garage next to the butcher's market, Subway, and all that. My question is, if we have to put in a fire hydrant, it's gonna cost the customer $13,000, and it's gonna be owned by the county, and it's also gonna be on the county right-of-way, the county property. So why, what is the logical explanation of why the county wants the individual to pay for a fire hydrant that's gonna service multiple properties, not just his? Anybody?
Yep, we're, like I mentioned to you on the phone, we're gonna review it with our fire chief and just check all the
Okay.
distances. Is the lawnmower service or the repair, is he moving out or is he
No,
moving back?
that's totally different building.
that is a
That's
different building.
It's the building to the left of that. It's a 2-bay garage is what it was.
Oh, okay,
And we're wanting to turn it into 3 retail spaces.
right. Yeah, it's strictly a safety thing is the reason the ordinance was written. I'm not sure it's right in your case or it's wrong in your case, but that's the only reason, not to try and get you to fund fire
Well,
hydrants
we're
or
not-
anybody else for that matter.
That building's not the only one out of compliance, and I don't wanna,
Well, yeah,
throw
grandfather.
red flags up or anything, but there's another building that was just built in the area that's basically the same distances from the fire hydrants,
Yep, that's fair.
so.
Chairman, I think I saw the fire chief earlier, but
He's back there in the back.
Yeah.
Is he? Hey, chief.
unless I'm wrong, and unless I misheard him, in Mr. Elrod's situation, it would be covered, regardless of what the county ordinance says, it'd be covered under the International Fire Code, which is a state code that we've adopted along with building codes and other mandatory codes. Unless I misheard the fire chief, that code as well would require Mr. Elrod's client to install a fire suppression as well, regardless of what the county ordinance
I
says.
see.
So,
Now, Glenn, that wouldn't belong, it would belong to Dalton Utilities, and that's actually state right away there.
Well, the building, the size of the building, it is not required to have fire suppression in the building, no sprinklers or anything like that. So, the fire hydrants that are there presently are 720 foot apart. One of them, as the crow flies, which is not the way the trucks work, but as the crow flies, is 295 foot from a fire hydrant. Everything that I would be building on would be closer to the fire hydrant than it is now. So is there some type of, I don't know, is there something that I can file for to get some kind of,
Yeah, I don't have an answer today, but yeah, we're definitely gonna look at the drawings and the diagrams and your proposed buildings with the fire chief. I haven't talked, I've briefly talked to him, but I haven't sat down with him yet.
okay.
But I will.
He's real cooperative, he's a great guy, so,
We're gonna keep him for another week at least.
all right.
Neil Ridley, 231 Heavens Way here in Dalton. So everything countywide with the reassessment of the property values has got everybody all uptight. We understand that because it's money. It's money out of everyone's pocket. The biggest majority of that money comes from our school tax.
Yes, 70%.
So, my question is, first off, I'd like to say thank you to all of you guys for your service to the community. But my question is this: is there not a way that we can move that millage rate lower and move to a to a sales tax instead of just the property owners? Now, I know there's gonna be some opposition. It has to go on the ballot to be voted on. I know that. And you're gonna get a lot of kickback from some because they don't wanna pay more in sales tax. But wouldn't it be better for everyone to pay than just the property owners? So I've done a little research, and roughly, and some of my numbers may be wrong, but roughly $42 million a year is what the school collects from property tax owners, from property tax from the owners. So a splosh tax generally estimated $20 million a year in sales tax, right?
A little bit more, but yep.
Okay, so roughly $20 million. So we could move to a 2.2% sales tax and fund our schools. We don't want to defund our schools. We want to continue funding our education of our kids. But why can't everybody bear that burden instead of just the property owners? You say, well, everybody will go out of the county to buy. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands, but where do you go to shop? You go to Chattanooga, or you go to Cleveland. Where do you go to eat? You go to Chattanooga, or you go to Cleveland. Chattanooga's sales tax is 9.25%. Cleveland's sales tax is 9.75%. Our sales tax is 7%. Add a 2.2 to that, puts us even with Chattanooga. Why can we not move to that, to where everybody that purchases something in the county pays the same amount instead of just the property owners? If somebody stops on the interstate and buys a hamburger at McDonald's, somebody mentioned McDonald's earlier, they're paying part of our school tax instead of just the property owners. That's all. Thank you.
What you're mentioning is a new tax. It does exist in Georgia now, just basically this year, called a FLOST, like with an F. Unfortunately, you cannot use it for education. I don't know why they did it that way. We can use it to pay, to use that sales tax to pay and cancel your county property tax, what we levy, and we are definitely open to considering that. We had to opt into this bill, which we did earlier this year. That was the first step. Then, like you said, it goes on the ballot, but it's only 1 penny is the first issue, and it only goes for the county. But if you want to talk to your state legislature, I'll be happy to go with you to make it more flexible for education. That would be a good idea. Just my 2 cents, or 1 cent.
Hi there, I'm Connie at the Oakwood, and also, I'm not a property owner, but I live in a property that doubled. And when I went to file the appeal, my advice was just go up on the rent. Well, I work at the Oakwood, I make tips, $2.15 an hour for 20 years. They can't just go up on your tips because you're having to pay that money too. So it's just not a property owner. It's everyone that lives in Dalton. And what are y'all gonna do when people cannot pay their property taxes? What are you gonna do? Take their property from them? Because we're talking about doubled. So those are things that you need to think about. Come up with some other way, but it's just not property owners. It's everyone that lives in apartments. It's everyone that pays power bills. It's everyone that goes to the grocery store. So Dalton people, tax, or y'all need to figure out how to fix living in Dalton, because I see people splitting plates because they can't afford it. So it's really up to all of y'all. So it's not just affecting property owners. It's affecting me too, and I don't own anything. So that's my 2 cents.
Anyone else? Motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. Thank you.